It's 1:35, and we'll get started. We've got 22 people on board, and I think that's great. So welcome all. I was just telling Aman at the beginning here. I don't have my home computer. I'm traveling right now, so I may have little trouble here with making things work with only one screen. I've never done that. So let me.
And where's your background, Curt? Usually we see you by the river.
Well, exactly. This is just feels weird. Let's see what I can do here. There we go. All right. Okay, so this is something we started. What was it, Lawrence? Was it 3 years ago that we did the first one? Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, about that. And we've had some pretty steadily increasing numbers, and I think these have really helped people kind of figure out how to make this work and what to do. It's also helped just get us together and meet people from around the province that obviously have similar interests. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So this year we are changing it up just a little bit. We're going to have 3 of us sharing the role of running these huddles, so you don't have to just put up with me droning on day after day. Lawrence and Daisy have both been to a number of these forums now, so they're going to run the huddles for Sunday, Tuesday, and I think I'm back on Wednesday to do this. But today we've got a special guest. So we have Kedar Mate, who's the current president and CEO of IHI, and he's just taking over IHI as we move into a COVID world where QI approach is more important than it ever was. So we're all overwhelmed by the disruptive change and a challenge to make that change as positive as we can through the lens of both the triple aim and joy in work. And we need to look after our patients and ourselves more than ever before. So Kedar has been IHI's Chief Innovation and Education Officer. He grew up in New Jersey, graduated from Brown University, and worked on drug-resistant TB in Peru. And that's where he met and worked with Don Berwick. Kedar graduated from Harvard Medical School and trained in internal medicine, completing his training at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. Kedar went on to Cornell as an assistant professor and hospitalist at New York Presbyterian Hospital. And he worked with IHI's South African team on IHI AIDS and several of IHI's South African projects, working as country director. He moved back to the US in 2012 and worked with IHI's R&D team, and then led the Middle East and Pacific region. So I think we got this a little out of order. Anyway, Kedar has a wealth of experience both at IHI and throughout the world that he's bringing to this role, and it's going to be really exciting to see what he does with it. So Kedar, welcome.
Well, I thank you so much. I'm impressed with how much you've done some research there. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the warm welcome. It's probably, I'm saying this too often right now, but of course I wish I could be doing this in person with you all. Being together with you would be such a thrill. Would be a real pleasure, and it's a shame that we can't be live and in person at the moment, but I'm grateful to you all for taking a few minutes on your Saturday to join me in this conversation. Indeed, I'm really thankful to all of you for joining us next week. This is a challenging moment for healthcare. I know how busy all of you are. And so I have to tell you that IHI is just incredibly humbled and honored by the trust and that so many around the world. We have over 5,200 people, 5,300 people now that will join us next week for the forum. And at a time when time is at an incredible premium for clinicians and for healthcare providers around the planet. So I just couldn't say how much, I cannot thank you enough for all that you do and the fact that you'll be joining us and spending some of your precious time, precious and limited time, I think, with us at this point in time. Not so long ago, Don Berwick and I gave a keynote at the European meeting, the European version of this forum. And one of the things that we had heard a lot about was the concern about whether quality and QI and patient safety and all the things that we, that this community of providers and clinicians knows very well, some questions about whether or not it was fast enough, whether it was innovative enough, whether it was relevant any longer in a COVID world. To which both of us independently had, of course, arrived at probably a conclusion you would anticipate from us, which is a firm yes. Because during this time, as we have gone through the pandemic, I would argue that in almost every system that we've encountered, what people have been doing have been rapid cycles of change, rapid testing, rapid learning, learning at a scale and at a pace that we've never experienced before, and doing so with a discipline that in some ways looks a lot like quality and safety methodologies when you untangle it. Looks a lot what Deming talked about with studying variation of how people were doing things in different places and applying oneself in a rapid learning format to try to get to the conclusion that we need to get to. I know that you spoke to with Don. I know Don was with you a couple of years ago for one of your events. I think it was back in 2018, if I'm not wrong, that Don came out to visit you. And in that time, and he shared with me that he regarded sort of where you were and the capability and capacity of the clinical community in BC as exceptional, something that he had rarely seen anywhere else in the world. You know, it's incredible to know how many folks have come to the forum, how many of you will be coming to the forum next week. And again, and so many other ways in which you've built your capability and skills around improvement science over the last several years, including the Improvement Advisor course that I know had to get shifted into a virtual environment, but we'll see what we can do in the future, which I hope will continue to grow. But it strikes me that, I think it struck Don then, that BC has the right kind of size and the right set of skills and the will to make a big difference around quality and safety in your patch of the world. But I just want to see if I could go one step beyond that, because at this time, as we go through this second peak of the pandemic and whatever may lie beyond it, it just seems to me that the world needs and is looking for examples of what an improvement-based system might look like coming out of this pandemic. I've used the metaphor recently of World War II Japan and talking about how Japan emerged, if you will, from devastation after World War II. I mean, it was a completely devastated country in that time. And there were a number of industries, of course, that were emergent in that period. And several of them chose the path of quality. And they're the ones that we know about today. The Sonys and the Toyotas of the world are the companies that, coming out of the ruin of World War II Japan, chose deliberately the path of quality as the way out of that devastation. The parallel, you can probably anticipate here, but the parallel is that I think we are undergoing our transformative moment in healthcare. I'm not sure it's quite the same level of devastation that Japan experienced, but it's certainly a reckoning of some kind at the moment that we're going through around the pandemic. And the question will be, what path might we choose as we seek to recalibrate our systems so that they're better prepared and more resilient for the future? And I would make the argument that a quality-focused system, much like quality-focused industries, a quality-focused healthcare system is likely to be the one that we will tell the story of 20 to 30 to 50 years from now. That will be the system that will emerge from this pandemic stronger, better, and indeed positioned for considerable strength going forward. So, and I think you all, I think in BC, with the capability that you have, with the clinical engagement that you have, with the knowledge and skills that you have built, and the will that you have, importantly, as Tom Nolan taught Don and I many years ago in our innovation team. It's both will, ideas, and execution ability. And it's this will that I think is most challenging to find. But I think you can lead the way for us. You can lead the way to creating that kind of quality-focused system of tomorrow that will hopefully teach us something about how to become better prepared and more resilient, because we will face challenges, perhaps not at this scale, perhaps not with quite the level of lethality that we're experiencing with COVID-19, but I'm certain that we will have future challenges, whether it's man-made or natural or infectious in nature. We will certainly face future challenges as a system. And again, for us to build a better system going forward, it would be wonderful if we could develop that model system that BC may very well be able to provide a blueprint for. So I'm really excited about you all coming to the forum next week. It's going to be an exciting time. We're experimenting with a whole lot of things around, whether it's virtual cocktail hours, which who knows what that's going to be like, or various versions of trying to ensure that we're creating connectivity between people that are at the forum. The hallway conversations, which are the magic of these kinds of events, are hard to replicate, but we're trying our best to try to help people connect to one another. So bear with us while we try our best to make that happen. But we're really looking forward to having you with us. And indeed, I hope that we'll have a chance to do work together and create that model for what healthcare can look like in the future. So let me leave it there, and Curt, turn it back to you.
Good. Thanks, Kedar. I think you're exactly right. I think BC is it's the right size. We have a lot of the components we need to really do something unique, and I think we're well on our way there. Every day is a challenge, right? Keeping that energy going, keeping things going. Every day challenges. Every day you challenge the status quo is a lot of work, and I think we're doing it. I think we're doing it quite effectively. And I think the people who are going to be the core of carrying that forward are right here, right now. So I really want to thank everyone that's here for the contribution that they're making right now and in the future. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to just go back and look at get my screen up here. There we go. Let's see. There we go. So here's what we have coming up over the week. So we're on the 5th right now, and we're in the first huddle. Lawrence is going to run Sunday and Monday, and Daisy is going to take over for Tuesday, and then Wednesday we'll do a wrap up. Since the first year that we started this, we've had a WhatsApp group that's been really important for us to communicate with each other. If you've never been part of that, please sign up for it. Text Lawrence to get added. If nothing else, over the years, Lawrence has always had a whole lot of pictures. I'm going to be interested to see how you can pull that one off this year. But we'll see. But it's a really good way for us to get together and share our experiences throughout the day, not just during the huddles or whatever, but share as we go. So I really encourage everyone to do that. And then Lawrence also has the Facebook page. So the Canadian Health and Care Quality Improvement Network. How do you pronounce the acronym, Lawrence?
Yeah, since it is the Canadian Health and Care Quality Improvement Network, the acronym is CHA-CHING.
All right. So again, 450 participants there, and this goes on all year long. So please join that as well. And that's just the usual Facebook mechanisms to do that. So please go and do that. Now, going into the National Forum, it's really easy to kind of get swept up in things and come out of it with less than you could have. So I really encourage you to think about why you're here and what your goals are. What is it you want out of this week? What are the topic areas that are most important to you that are going to help you with your QI work going forward? And you know, where are you likely to find information that's going to advance what we're doing now and throughout the next year? So think in terms of goals that are, you know, the collaborative committee, the GP specialist services committee, the those collaborative committees that we run on. What are the goals there that we can do? The health authority priorities, but really think very carefully about your personal priorities. What is it that you want out of this week, and plan your attendance, plan what you do accordingly. So the sessions are one of those things. For me, one of the biggest parts of the National Forum is the networking that we get into, and it's going to be interesting to see how that happens this week. But you know, I really encourage you to give it a shot. It may feel awkward at first, but I suspect that 90% of the people are going to find it awkward. And those that persevere, I think, are going to find it very valuable. And I think the people who are not going to find it awkward are probably the ones that were at National Forum #1. And that's about all. So, you know, really try and take part and make that networking part of your goals. So this is the structure of the forum. So starting tomorrow, we've got the learning labs, and so there's workshops tomorrow. On Monday, there's half-day workshops, and there's a scientific symposium. So you can see the structure that's there. Now these times that we have are all Pacific standards, so you don't have to do any conversions. And it looks like you get most of the afternoon off, so that's not a bad thing either. So so take a look through those, and then starting on Tuesday, so for Tuesday and Wednesday, we're into the conference proper. And this year is a little different. We've got the 5 different streams, so A through E. Generally, when we're there in person, you know, A and B are repeats of each other. C and D are repeats of each other. So look at what's there and choose carefully. Now, if I can figure out how to. Oops. I want to show you how to do that. Let me share another screen with you. Sorry, I'll be just a minute here getting this sorted. There we go.
BC team is not usually this quiet, Kedar.
So when you log in, you'll see something along these lines. This is just showing me that I'm speaking on Wednesday the 9th at noon. You're all welcome to come to that. You can see what my hidden agenda has been for the last 6 years. We'll give out some secrets there, so come see what we have to say. But I want to bring your attention to the presentation materials. So over on the left-hand side, you'll see inbox, continuing education credits, and presentation materials. One of the problems at the forum is that it often feels like you're drinking from a fire hose. There's so much that's available. And it's really hard to figure out what it is you're going to go to, which sessions are going to be the ones that are most valuable to you. But what you can do is you can look here at presentation materials. It gives you the different sessions. Let's just go down to Wednesday session, because that's where I'm presenting along with Frank and Gordon. And here's all of the sessions that are being offered. And if I thought I was particularly interested in C5, not that I'm plugging it, I can click on that. And what it has, oops. Yeah, what it has here is the slide deck. So you can go in, you can see what they're going to talk about. So if you're thinking, you know, do I want to go to this one or that one? Go take a sneak peek, see what they're talking about, and see if it, see which one of them fits your, you know, fits your objectives the best. So that's if you've never been through this before, I think that's a key lesson for you, is how to pick those sessions. Now, in addition to that, see if I can get this working again.
While you're doing that, Curt, can I just say goodbye to everyone? I've got to run, unfortunately, just now to get to another thing, but I really want to say thank you to all of you again for again giving us your time next week. And one last plug I'll make is that all these sessions are yours. They'll be on the site. You know, one of the advantages of being in this strange format is that, you know, there'll be recordings of all the sessions, and you'll have a chance to see them, and the materials will be there for any of the sessions. So feel free to take advantage of as much of the content as you can, and look forward to seeing you all soon, and someday I hope being together. So apologies for having to depart now, but thank you again.
Kedar, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Oops. Okay, so so how do you get there? You should all have received an email that gives you the web address to go to. So conferences.ihi.org with all that stuff after it. And you get to a login screen where you put in your email address that you registered under and your last name. And that takes you into the screen that I showed you earlier. Now, for these sessions, usually what we've done is we've talked about what's coming the next day, and we've talked about some sessions that you might want to pay particular attention to. So that may be because of content, or because the presenter is someone that you can't miss them. So this doesn't mean that these are assignments that you have to go to them, but it's just things that we want to bring to your attention so that you're not left kind of rudderless. If you can't really figure out, all things being equal, these are some ones to really look at. So for the sessions tomorrow, there's the first one, 8 o'clock in the morning, achieving hospital-wide patient flow, right care, right place, right time. So this is Pat Rutherford that's doing this. I think Fred's there as well. And this is part 1. Part 2 is on Monday. This is something that I think is particularly important to every hospital we have in BC. We have flow problems. We have overcrowding in all of our hospital, and the program that Pat's put together is outstanding. I brought Pat and Fred up for the summit that we had a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, because I thought this was so important, because I really would like to see us at some point start to do this type of work in BC, both as a way, well, it's a way to deal with all aspects of the triple aim. Better patient care, better access to care, and improved cost. And they've really done a great job. Now, Rebecca, you've taken this, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, I just finished it with Lawrence and what names are failing me.
Okay. Anyway, give us a plug. Tell us about it. Give us a plug.
Wow, we have so much potential. There really isn't a lot of difference between hospital flow and quality improvements. The one main difference is that with hospital flow, instead of just doing random projects, there's oversight with a direction of this is how we're gonna develop this project and this project. So we need some big picture thinking to guide some of what project goes first, what goes next. Let's target our biggest gains first, and get everyone engaged, get leadership engaged, get the frontline engaged, get people working on. So it's all of it through and through is quality improvement. It's just quality improvement with more direction.
Wow, it sounds like maybe someone should put systems thinking as part of the theory of profound knowledge. Good.
And in fact, sorry, it was Neil Barkley we did it with. I always have a hard time pulling names out of my head. But we do have a Department of Access and Flow, and they're in their formation. They kind of formed earlier this year, but we need to bring them in and have them do a presentation and vice versa, because we should be working with the Access and Flow team. We're sort of like the laborers in this thing, and Access and Flow is going to be some of that systems level thinking and data processing behind the scenes. But we need to sell ourselves to that team so that we can work towards hospital flow.
Yeah, and I think what Pat and Fred have really done here is they've put a structure around the problem. So rather than giving random pokes into the system and hoping something good happens, they've put a structure around it to help make sure that you're addressing the important parts of the system and that you're addressing them effectively. So I really do recommend that for anyone that's interested in that bigger picture of flow through the hospital. Then at 11 o'clock, we've got 3 sessions that I want to point out. One is value management, and this is something that I think we all go into PQI being maybe a little skeptical about the need to do business cases and show value. That we know that the value is there just because we're looking after our patients better. But the being able to put this into a system and being able to make a business case for the changes that we want to make is extremely important. And I think throughout your training and your projects, you've learned that in practice. So value management is something I wanted to show. At 11 o'clock, simplifying selection and use of Stewart charts. That's often an issue for people. And to be honest, I forget who's doing this one, but you've got some heavyweights that are in there doing this one. So it's, even if you're comfortable with it, the people that are presenting are well worth going to see. And then we're in a COVID world, right? So if we didn't have joy and work in the triple aim, and I think it does fall from triple aim anyway, but if we didn't have that, we have to have it now because we're burning out the care workers that we do have, and we really have to make sure that we look after ourselves as well as our patients. So session SH07 at 11 o'clock, strategies to ensure that QI improves joy in work. So those are the ones that I thought I wanted to point out in particular to people. again, if there's another one in there that meets your goals better, go for it, because it's the goals that you come in with that are important. But all things being equal, those are ones that I think are really worth taking a look at. Okay, so right now, I'd just like to open up the floor, and I'd like to know a couple of things. So one is, what are your goals? What are you looking for? Anything in particular you see coming up that's important that you want to share? And I think a lot of the value is in the discussions we have in these. So please unmute and have at her. I think that was a mute. Try unmute. Frank, you've always got something to say. But you are going to have to unmute if you're going to say it.
You know, I'm just selling something on eBay, and I just got a message with a question on it. I'm selling an old Xbox, but no, I was impressed with the interface, and I would also like to say that under the materials, it's not just the slides for the presentation, but there's also articles and references and that sort of thing that are included. So it can be quite rich, so that even if you can't make a session, you might download some of the articles that they've posted. Yeah, I looked on one for some reason, I don't know why, I looked this up, but it was on disciplining, if you like, difficult people. You know, the different stages of, you know, coffee. This is a coffee chat, or this is more of a formal type of structure. Anyway, they had an article about that they posted in the additional material section. The other thing that we could do this year is you can have your spouse come and listen to some of the, or your family listen to some of the keynotes. You know, I snuck Denise in for a couple of Don Berwick's talks when she came down with me to Orlando, but I think that's a really cool part of this going virtual, is that you can have the whole family watch these keynotes, and I think that would be very valuable, value added portion of the conference.
Yeah, get it up on the big screen.
Yeah.
In addition to that, Frank, I know, I'm not sure I have this with our local hospital is undergoing quite a major COVID outbreak right now, so I don't know if this will be possible, but I was hoping to show some of those keynote speakers with some of our local managers and our directors and the people doing QI, because I think we have this great group of physicians, and one big hole we're missing is the other half of our partnership with our admin folks. I can't tell you how much I would love for them to come to these conferences and to do this with us, because when we go back sort of into real life and putting this into place, you've got to have that side of it. So I was hoping in this virtual world, and maybe if there's some recordings, it will happen in January, but to think about how we could bring some of this conference material back to our, with our partnerships and people we work with in our hospital.
And everything is available for 90 days afterwards. They're all recorded. So even if you can't have it'd be tough to have a group together, but you might be able to say, well, look, here's my link, and then, you know, sort of don't tell anybody I told you this, but please watch this. And
exactly.
That was actually going to be one of my questions, because my dyad partner for my PQI project, we were talking about the agenda, and he was really excited about a lot of the talks, and so I'm good to share those with him.
I'd be careful. I think for specific things it's probably okay, but this is an income generator for IHI, and I think we need to be respectful of that. So if it's at all possible to get your partner to register, I would really suggest that. But I don't think anyone's going to be fleecing it, and what I don't see doesn't bother me. But IHI does need our support as well.
Right, but I think in terms of getting sign up for next year, just, you know, giving a synopsis of a few of the ones and showing the value?
Oh, no problem there. I don't think. Yeah, that's and having them recorded, I think is going to be a real plus this time. So if you see something that you want to bring to someone else's attention, they can go and see it. It's not just a matter of you giving them the highlights as you remember them. So that's going to be I think that's going to be a plus.
Curt, do you know if there's any way that attending a session, you'll know which of the other members from BC or attendees from BC are actually constituted part of that group? Because quite often you'd go with someone else and you'd actually use them as part of your chat group during the day and after the session. Is that going to be possible with the system?
Gordon, I don't know. I know that as presenters, we get to see who the participants are in the room. But I don't know as attendees if we get to see the other attendees. I guess we'll find that out tomorrow.
I just think it causes a very rich dialogue sometimes right after the session.
Well, perhaps something for us to do is in the WhatsApp. If you've been to a session that you think was good, put it in WhatsApp. Just came from great session. And that may stimulate some of that. Lawrence, any other tips about that? Getting some dialogue going?
Yeah, I think that some restreaming the broadcast is probably not advisable. As you said, this is a product from IHI, and we're partnering with them via David Coletta and Kedar today. So, but taking snapshots, sharing brief snippets of really inspiring stuff, highly recommended. Inspiring people to look into the source material that will be presented, really great idea. So snapshots, share them on social media. And if you tag IHI Forum, hashtag IHI Forum, that sharing and has a win-win consequence. So absolutely do that.
Who's next?
I'll just add to what Curt had mentioned with just having little pearls at the end. If you find them a session helpful, it's really nice to share those on the WhatsApp group so that the other members can then download or look at the videos later potentially and have valuable conversations about it too. I remember last year, I think it was Karen Dallas and I were attending a peer support group, which is also being presented again. And we found that really insightful, and we were screenshotting some of the slides and having discussions about that too.
Yeah, one of the really nice things this year is because they have so many good sessions all at the same time. You can only go to one, but now if someone alerts me to a session that, gee, I wish I went to that one. Well, now I can, and that's kind of nice. What I miss out on is I miss out on the question and answer period, the interaction with the speakers, but I get to go and see the presentation. And so I could, if there's 12 all running at the same time, I may be up late that night, but I could go see all 12. That's kind of neat.
The other thing, Curt, maybe are there, besides your presentation, as well as I think there was Cole and his group are presenting, are there any other BC presentations? Because we should also be supportive of them. And then the other thing was, are there storyboards that we should be supporting as well from BC?
So for people who are presenting storyboards or presenting at the conference, put that in the WhatsApp group. Lawrence, Daisy, when you do your what's coming tomorrow, be sure to put those in there as well, so everyone's aware of what is coming up the next day. So I think that's how we've done that in the past. There's always been someone from BC has been presenting. We don't dominate the place yet, but there's always next year. Okay, so let's open up discussion a little more. So Kedar was talking about BC being in a unique position, right size. We've got this very keen group of well-trained physicians and others. What do you think? I'm not going to ask you if it's true or not, because I know it is. But what do you think the next steps are? How do we take and capture that resource and put it to use?
I think we have to get the co-chairs of the collaborative committees understanding how valuable a resource it actually is, Curt. I've shared that previously.
Mhm.
Because I think that when you look at GPSC and Shared Care Committee and the Joint Standing Committee, we've got people that have got great training now and are very capable, and to make sure that they're brought forward as being people that they can engage with, that's advantageous to the system as a whole.
And what can people who are here today, what can they do to move this forward? What can you as individuals do to move this forward?
I think what we have to do is get out there and do the quality improvement work and engage with the executive director at your site as high up as you can go and as low as you can go in the pecking order, if you like, of your institution or your practice, and just do some quality improvement projects and bring others in. And I think we can get this culture going from the ground up. And I think I found that when I was in cohort 2 and I just was enrolled in cohort 2, not finished it at all, but just enrolled in it. I found that I would start talking about quality improvement, and even if I wasn't talking about, people would sort of view me as some sort of a guru in quality improvement. Having listened to Curt talk for about 3 hours, so that would maybe an expert. Well, you learn a lot from Curt, that's for sure. But so I think there's things. It's what you do as individuals and what you say and how you behave and what you're interested in and how you support other people. I think that's what's gonna move the dial. And I think we are slowly moving the dial that way now. But I think that's what you can do. And I'd never underestimate what one of you can do in terms of changing the culture and moving towards this learning. British Columbia being a big learning institution and moving forward.
So Frank, is Erica, and maybe this is a question for Curt too. So what do you think is the value of those of us who are training moving into formal leadership positions within Fraser Health? Is it better to do QI from the side as a QI leader and as a frontline engager, or is there better value in people moving into Fraser Health leadership positions to promote QI and culture change?
Okay, that's a really easy answer. The answer is yes. We need people at all levels. We need lots of people on the ground doing the heavy lifting, and we need people to, let's just call it, infiltrate, and move the culture that we're trying to change, put it in place. And make it real. So it's not an either or, it's a both. And whatever role you as an individual are comfortable playing, just do it as best you can. That's where wherever it is you want to be, that's where we need you.
I think one of the things I've started to face in having some smaller roles in Fraser Health is that it starts to provide barriers when you make that move from a frontline person into a employee of Fraser Health, and that there are that you're strapped by certain policies and procedures as being an employee versus being outside of the system. So, but I fully believe we need to sort of integrate ourselves up and start taking over those leadership roles. And hopefully the more of us that are in those roles, it will become easier.
Yeah, but also I think if you want those barriers to go away, you have to be in a position to make them go away.
Yes.
So grit your teeth sometimes, and just get in there and do it. If you get tired of it, there's lots of other things to do.
Yeah, and I think too, a lot of the job descriptions of these leadership positions are, you know, they might be detailed on paper, but really they're quite vague, and you can work, you know, do quite a bit with those job descriptions, and a lot of it you can just couch in QI terms going forward. Certainly, that's what I found with my division head. You know, I'm doing a lot more mentoring and that sort of thing than I am doing writing minutes at meetings and that sort of thing.
So what each of us is doing by being here this week, but also in the work that we do, is we're leading by example. And so that really is the crux of how we're going to change the culture and how we're going to change the organization to join that culture, is by leading by example and by demonstrating the value in what we do, by doing it well. You know, in a lot of ways, it is just that simple. I wish it was fast, but it is simple. All right, so this was supposed to be half an hour, and now we're almost an hour. Anyone want to offer some last words? All right. So thank you all for attending. If there's any changes you'd like to see to this format, we're open to them. Let us know what we can do to make this more valuable to you. Thanks for joining us. And as it says, get out there and do it.